Hello, my merciful brothers and sisters. It is I, MisterMercy, bringing you another video with some Overwatch gameplay. So today, I wanted to talk about the PTR and how it's totally ineffective, and people aren't using it correctly. I know Stylosa recently did a video about this, but I wanted to do a video on it as well. So probably about like half an hour ago, I was playing on the PTR, playing some Orisa in a no limits game, because that's the only real reliable way you can get into a game as Orisa in the PTR these days. So I was playing some Orisa on the PTR in this no limits game. I actually just loaded into a game already in progress. It was on the, I believe it was the University point of Oasis, and we had literally just began. The point had just been capped. And it started up from 0%. And my team actually had the point. And when I went to go to the point to defend the line as Orisa, I look over in the corner and I see this enemy Bastion just sitting there, not doing anything, and just waving at my team, while like 4 of my teammates were just standing there around the Bastion, waving back and doing emotes and crouching and just not doing anything to help me and help the team. And obviously I've seen this before. This is what is known as the friendly Bastion. Now, it doesn't have to be Bastion in the role of the friendly Bastion. There can be the friendly Ana, the friendly Junkrat, the friendly Winston, really whoever you want, but commonly it's done with Bastion, I think, because Bastion is like the most hated amongst them. So they think it's funny to play a Bastion that people don't get mad at, I guess. So these guys were playing the friendly Bastion, and when I saw that, I mean, I recognized that's what they were doing. But instead of trying to, go to the point or do anything, instead of trying to like 1v5 the enemy team, because one of their teammates was, the Bastion that was, messing with my team and just playing with my team and stuff. So they were kind of like a one-man down anyway. But instead of trying to go into the point, I just lined up the Bastion, thinking it's gonna be a free kill. I almost killed him, but I just set up my barrier and started wailing on him. And the rest of my team were looking at me, and then they started getting mad at me. He's like, "Dude, why'd you attack the Bastion? Why are you ruining all the fun?" And I'm like, "I'm trying to play the game. I'm not sitting here having a tea party with Bastion. I'm here trying to actually play the game the way it's meant to be played." And my team started getting mad at me and getting toxic at me, and saying that, "Oh, I'm ruining their fun and stuff." And the response I get back from people when I tell them to actually play the game, is it's just the PTR, and that's the response that I've gotten. And when it comes to like the friendly Bastion, I'll just put this into perspective. When you're playing the friendly Bastion, that would be like if during an NFL game, say you're a player playing on your home team. For me, that would be the Patriots. So say like during an NFL game, some players on your home team decided that instead of playing the game, they'd just all go hang out on the field with a boombox and dance around like idiots, while you and some of the other members on your team are actually trying to play the game. And the excuse of it's just the PTR is a terrible excuse. But of course, it's one that we've also heard before. We've heard this happen when Arcade launched, because people would say it's just Arcade when screwing around in the arcade modes. And you'd also see it when there wasn't a 1 hero limit in quick play, and I guess it still kind of happens in quick play, with people saying it's just quick play. And it's as if the people who say that think that competitive is the only mode to hold any kind of significant value in the game, and that everything else is just a sandbox to dick around in, and it doesn't matter. And another thing too is when I tell people, you know, to actually play the game when they're doing this friendly bastion technique, is people tell me, oh, you stop taking it so seriously. If you wanna be serious, go to competitive. I'm not advocating for taking quick play or the arcade or even the PTR seriously. I'm not advocating that you treat these things like competitive. This was the whole divide that we had between the quick play and the competitive players before we had the one hero limit in quick play. And I'm not advocating for turning these things into a more serious thing. I think they're fine the way they are. I think that it's a dangerous buzzword, the word seriously. I think it's a dangerous buzzword to be thrown out considering how seriously competitive needs to be taken. And I don't want players to take it seriously. I want players to play it intentionally and respect it, and as well as respect other players. Because I don't care what hero you're running, if you're in an arcade or you're in quick play. I don't care what hero you're running. I don't care about your positioning. I don't care about how good or bad you are. But I do care about you not playing the objective and just being and just dicking around and dancing with your team. That I do care about, because not everyone is there in that game with you, unless you have a full, you know, 6-man stack and then they're all kind of doing it together. But usually, not everyone is there to screw around. And not only is it inconsiderate to do so with others outside of your little party, I'd say it's even toxic, because you're essentially throwing the match for anyone who actually wants to play the match. And if you're ever in my lobby and doing it, even if you're doing it on the enemy team and actually helping my team by doing it, I'm still reporting you, because that's not okay. That's a toxic thing to do. It ruins the game for other people. And maybe you're having fun just standing there, you know, sitting there as the Bastion, talking to the enemy team and waving and dancing and doing your emotes. But not everybody on your team is gonna appreciate that. And I'm gonna report you if I ever see that for toxic behavior, because to me that's no different than picking Torbjorn and jumping off the map on Numbani, like jumping off the map right at the attacker spawn. There's no difference to me. That they're both throwing the game. So if you guys know, Blizz just recently launched the game browser. Fantastic tool, lets you screw around with all, you know, the settings in game and stuff for the different heroes, different maps, different objectives, and just lets you kind of go crazy with it. And if you want to have a nice friendly chat room where you can play the friendly Bastion and walk around and dance with and emote with your fellow players, make one there. That's what it's there for. In fact, I've even seen on live game, I've seen various game browser entries where it's just that, where they have like the health and the health maxed out and the damage minimized, so you can't really kill anybody, and it even says no killing, have fun. And that's what it's there for. People go and they mess around with abilities and they emote and they talk to each other, and it's just a big chat room. And I've seen that on the live game, and that's what you should be using the game browser for, instead of bringing this friendly Bastion into a live game or even into a PTR game, because it's for people who don't want to play the game vanilla like the rest of us, and allows them to come up with their own ways of playing, or in this case, not playing the game. And that's fine if you want to go do that in the game browser. I'm totally okay with that. But going back to the PTR, and the reason why, you know, people, you know, say, oh, it's just the PTR, is because I think that very few people use the PTR properly. Now, I'm not going to act holier than thou and claim I'm a saint for who always uses the PTR correctly, because in my opinion, using the PTR correctly means that you test out everything. You go through all the motions. You go through testing out the new heroes. You go through testing out other heroes that are older and seeing how they counter the new hero and how they counter each other still, and how all their abilities are still working, how all the maps feel with all the different heroes, and you test as much as you can for each build, and you actually take notes and you form your own opinions, and then you take all that and bring it to the Blizzard forums and inform Blizzard about how you feel. That's how I feel the PTR should be used, and I think that's how Blizzard wants the PTR to be used. But I know that I don't usually do that. I rarely ever comment and give my feedback on the forums about what I think most of the time, and I'm usually just there to try out some of the new features, maybe a new hero or a new map, and just have some fun with it. Especially when it comes to new heroes, because you know you want to get on that before everybody else in the live games on console and even PC can try out that hero. So it gives you an early peek into that hero, so it's fun. But whenever I'm playing on the PTR, I always do so in a way that respects what the PTR is there for, which is to test these features and experience how they feel. And while I may not voice my opinions all the time for the PTR, I do take mental notes and I do form my own opinions. And I play the game on the PTR the way it's meant to be played. And I know the environment isn't accurate all the time. And like I said, I may not report my data to Blizzard, but at least my data for my matches, which, like I said, I'm treating like I would a game on the live servers, at least all that data is being recorded and analyzed by Blizzard. So even if I'm not mentioning how I feel, Blizzard can look at my statistics, like with Orisa, for example, and see how much damage I'm putting out, see how much I'm doing for elims, compare that to my other heroes, and look to see, you know, how this looks from a numbers perspective. And you know, lately I've also seen on the PTR people complaining when other people are picking counters to Orisa on the enemy team, because they say they just want to have fun with the hero and don't want to be countered and don't want to be killed. Well, what these people don't understand, and as a Orisa main myself, I can even understand this, is that every other hero is just as important to testing Orisa, same as it is for any hero, as it is for players to get into her shoes and play her as well. Now, because not only do players deserve to know how to counter a hero when they hit live, because it would kind of suck if suddenly you had, you know, a new hero on your team and you didn't know what to do about it, and that hero just kind of mowed down your entire team. That would suck. But also, Blizzard needs that information to determine if any other heroes need tweaking, just because of this new hero's release. I mean, look at Zen. He was recently changed just because of people testing him out against Orisa. So that's a fantastic example of, you know, counters need to be found, and there needs to be a balance. Just because you like playing that hero doesn't mean that you know, you, and it's on the PTR, that doesn't give you the right to be, you know, unhindered by other heroes in the game and just, you know, constantly get kills and constantly, that's not what the PTR is there for. It's not for you to feel like a badass. It's there to get the balance right. Make sure that Orisa is just as powerful as she is vulnerable, and make sure that's on a balanced level, so you know, it doesn't feel too underrated or too overrated. I guess how I would put that. But you know, when it comes to the PTR, just please use the PTR in the way that it's intended, and don't devalue it as unimportant when compared to the live game, and also don't devalue quick play in the arcade as unimportant when compared to competitive, because they're all valid ways to play the game. And if you want to play the game in an invalid way that Blizzard doesn't approve of, then use the game browser, where you can play it however you want and do whatever you want with it. You can have a big orgy there if you want. Nobody's gonna care, because you can do it there without bothering anybody, and that's the big takeaway from this video. But that's all I really had to say about this matter. I've been rambling on for too long now about this. But anyways, guys, remember, if you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I'm MisterMercy. Peace, everyone.